Here is a hip or glute stretch to do using the wall. So often when we do the classic figure 4 stretch, if I show you to release through the buttock and the hip, there are some cheats that we do. So sometimes we're really tight through the front of the shoulders and the head tips back, which is not ideal. And sometimes we're really tight and the goal is to hold on to this thigh. And it means that sometimes the hips will twist. We shorten in the side of the waist. And again, what that does is it takes the intensity away, the isolation away from the part of the body that we actually want to stretch. So try this. You come a foot or so, depending on the length of your legs, away from the wall. And if you need a little bit of support underneath your head, then you can go ahead and grab that. So taking the heels to the wall, start with both legs straight and just feel that the sit bones are pointing to the floor, to the wall, sorry. So there's no twist and both sides of your waist are the same length. There's a little natural curve underneath your low back. So to stretch the right, I'm going to cross the right ankle over the top of the knee and just bring it far enough over that the ankle bone is not pressing too firmly into my thigh, but this right knee can be pressing out to the side. And by all means, you can keep your hand there if you wish, but you want to keep the shoulders relaxed and open through the collarbones, shoulder blades on the floor if you can. So then we start the stretch, and it can be quite a good idea to have the left hand on the hip. So you're lengthening the waist. You're helping this left hip to stay in place as you begin to bend the left knee. So what we're doing here by using the wall and by monitoring what's happening with the pelvis is that we're stopping this action here of shortening in the right side of the waist, or even sometimes the hips go the other way and the left side of the waist shortens. What that does is it takes away the isolation of working with opening this right hip. So it may be that you only bend the knee a little bit to start to feel the intensity of this stretch in the glute and in the hip. We don't want to flatten the back too much into the floor. If we can, just keep a tiny little gap of the low spine in neutral. And if you stay here for a couple of breaths, making sure that the pelvis is not tilting from one side or the other. So imagine that there's a laser beam coming out of your tailbone and it's pointing straight at the wall and not skewing off to one side or the other. And you might find that after a few breaths here, this starts to really ease off. So you can then bring the knee even more into flexion, the foot further down the wall, and you'll find that isolates again that muscle a little more for the stretch. So we're keeping the collarbones open. We're not having to strain the neck and the chest here. You can keep a gentle press of that knee out if that feels good. For me, I don't feel I need that particularly. And keep that sense of both sides of the waist long. The hips are still, the tailbone is laser beaming towards the wall. And if you find that that also starts to ease off, then you could even come onto the tiptoes and bring the legs a little closer to your chest for a more intense stretch. So the upper body, really from the sit bones all the way up to the crown of your head, is totally relaxed and really square, perpendicular to the wall. So we're trying to keep the hips from rocking one way or the other. And if they do, it's because your hips are a little tighter. So you just ease back a stage or two and work on one step at a time. You want to keep the toes drawing back towards the knee, just in case you feel any strain on this bent knee here. And to come out of it, start to walk the foot up the wall again. Both legs stretch up the wall, have a little relax here, and you can rock the hips a little bit before you take it to the other side. Enjoy and see how you get on with that. Remember, there's the seated version as well in another video.